It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let me just run down right away the all NBA teams. So first team, Giannis, Jokic, Steph Curry, Luka, Kawhi. No problems there. Second team, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Chris Paul, Julius Randle, LeBron James. People are going to get a little up in arms, Celtics fans, about Julius Randle making it and Jayson Tatum not. I understand it. Randle has the narrative behind him. The Knicks were all, they were, what's the word I'm looking for? Overachieving. Wow. Long night. I just did a Locked On NBA after that crazy game where Kevin Durant just went nuts and had a 49-point triple-double to steal that game. And all of a sudden, my brain just stopped working on the Celtics side. So I understand that the New York Knicks overachieved. And so I expected Julius Randle to make an All-NBA team. That, I get it. Especially in New York. You might be pissed off about it. I understand, but I don't have a problem with it necessarily. Third team, Rudy Gobert, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving. No real problems there either. Like I'm not. Jayson Tatum had a good year, and you have to look at, okay, who do you take off? Who do you put on? He's classified as a forward. So Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Giannis. So obviously Giannis, Kawhi are not coming off. LeBron was iffy on the games played scale. If you want to maybe say, hey, he didn't play enough games, let's knock him off of this list. Okay, fine. I can see some of that. But no, you want to keep LeBron on there, not a problem. Some of you will knock Julius Randle off. Fine. Jimmy Butler, Paul George. Could be, Jimmy Butler had a pretty good year, and Paul George, for all of the playoff stuff, he had a really good year too. I don't know that you can say you take one of those guys off. Randle will be the one that people will go nuts for. But here's where it gets crazy for Tatum. All right, points wise, he should have been on this team because points-wise, he had 69 total points. He had 2 first-team votes. He had 9 second-team votes and 32 third-team votes for a total of 69 points. But he was classified as a forward. He was listed as a guard and a forward. And because he got more forward votes, he becomes classified as a forward. But if he were classified as a guard, he would have made it. But because he was classified as a forward, he didn't make it because Kyrie Irving has 61 points. No first-team votes, 7 second-team votes. So remember, Tatum has 2 first-team votes, and he has 9 second-team votes. And Kyrie has 40 third-team votes, 61 points. So Tatum has more points than Kyrie Irving. But everybody voted for Kyrie Irving as a guard. That's all you could vote for him for. Most people voted for Tatum as a forward, as I expected. And remember when I was breaking this down, I if you listen to that podcast, I said a bunch of people could change how they voted for like Luka or some of these other guys. Guards being classified as forwards is much more likely. Like, I never expected Tatum to go from forward to guard. But if he had, he would have been all NBA. If he didn't, then he doesn't make all NBA, which is kind of weird and kind of stupid. And again, as far as him not making the team in general, that's okay. I'm not too worked up about it. But I am worked up about him not making the team when he has more actual points than someone who made the team. That I find dumb. And I especially find it dumb because that little classification thing costs him $32.5 million. And that does not sit well with me. And I know that Tatum's going to be fine. Tatum is going to be totally fine over the course of his life. He's going to make plenty of money, assuming he has a nice long career and plays into his 30s, hell, maybe even till he's 40 for all we know. He's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of million more in endorsements. In fact, Tatum's opt-out year is, I think, going to be the first year of that new TV deal, which means his next max contract is going to be a percentage of that new TV money, and he's going to be fine when it comes to money. But you know what? Still taking $32 million out of his pocket because sports writers like me, I don't have a vote, but sports writers like me vote on these things. And because people decided, or people had the choice, or didn't have the choice with some players, but did with others, to classify guys certain ways, well, we're just taking $32 million, $32.5 million out of Jayson Tatum's pocket. How's that fair? How's that fair to these guys? Now, Donovan Mitchell had a similar clause. He didn't even come close. That's fine. Luka Doncic is going to get it, and he's going to get a $200 million, I think, extension out of this, getting this All NBA. And that's the difference between these guys. And Luka's going to make plenty of money too. But the extra money, hey, who am I to take this money out of his hands? He earned it. Jayson Tatum earned this money. What do you want me to say? He clearly got 69 total points, which is more than one of the guys on the team. How do you get more points and lose? It's basketball. The whole thing is scoring more points than the other guy. You score more points than the other guy, you win. And here you are telling me that 69 points is somehow not going to get him onto a team when Kyrie has 61. That sucks. That really sucks for Jayson Tatum. And I acknowledge he's fine. I'm not crying poor for Jayson Tatum, but I'm also going to acknowledge that when you take $32 million away from somebody, that sucks. And I hate it. I think the NBA we just need to do away with these positions. Just 15 best players, or do it like the All-Star game, wings and bigs. Somehow make it so these guys are judged fairly, and when you earn more points in the voting, you get onto the All-NBA. Because let me tell you, I know people like to look at the All-Star stuff and compare All-Star games. Oh, he was a 10-time All-Star or a 12-time All-Star. The All-NBA is much harder. That is much more telling. If some guy has 10 All-Star appearances and 2 All-NBA appearances, that is not as impressive as the flip. And I don't know how that would even be possible, because if you make All-NBA, you should be an All-Star. But you can make an All-Star team but not be All-NBA, right? That's possible. You can go out there and make 10 All-Star teams and be, a fringe kind of guy, make the All-Star team, an injury replacement, or kind of borderline guy. Like, hey, you could be like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown wasn't going to make one of these all-NBA teams, but he made the All-Star team. If Jaylen Brown makes 10 All-Star games, but not these All-NBA teams, that's a lot different than making 10 All-NBA teams. It's just a different level of excellence. And so I think he can make it someday, but that's an aside. I'll save that for another time. All-NBA team means something, and it's harder to get onto. So I don't like the fact that they took that away from Jayson Tatum.